The thread holding together this year's inter-Korean agreement, April's Panmunjom declaration, appears to be coming under ever more strain this week. That's because Seoul's admitted to some doubts on two of the key outcomes, family reunions and a joint liaison office. I'm Alex Jensen for NK Now. Welcome to our channel. Let's go a little deeper into what's going on here. So in terms of family reunions, we just had a very strong reminder last week of why these are so important. The sight of hundreds of relatives who got to spend 3 days with lost loved ones divided by the border. The knowledge that they had to leave each other again, with no date to meet again, and with tens of thousands more elderly family members yet to be connected. And despite the clock ticking, Seoul's being forced to be patient, admitting that more reunions depend on negotiations with North Korea. Here's what Unification Ministry spokesman Jae-in told reporters yesterday. "We will have to further watch the circumstances surrounding the arrangement of the reunion event, such as inter-Korean negotiations. We have continued to raise the urgency and the need to resolve the issue of separated families on various occasions." That might sound natural, especially as South Korean President Jae-in is due in Pyongyang next month for this year's third inter-Korean summit. But the tone had been more optimistic when Park Hyung-seo, head of the South's Red Cross, said over the weekend that he'd reached a consensus with his North Korean counterpart to hold more reunions in a similar manner to that of last week's events in the North as soon as October. It had seemed a matter of just sorting out the finer details during working-level talks. But we've seen in the past how humanitarian issues have often been entangled in inter-Korean politics, and there are further reasons for pessimism, because Seoul's presidential office also admitted yesterday that an already agreed inter-Korean liaison office will have to be reviewed, citing the recent downturn in the North's dialogue process with the US. Indeed, the cancellation of US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's trip to Pyongyang, which we told you about yesterday, certainly hasn't helped matters in the short term. And a lot's been made of a North Korean report published Sunday that accused the US of secretly planning an invasion, even while holding negotiations with a smile on its face. The editorial in the North's official Sinmun newspaper claimed the US had been conducting extremely provocative and dangerous military drills, even though American officials have been unable to confirm what exercises may have upset Pyongyang. The claim does seem somewhat shaky in that the paper was pointing to a South Korean radio broadcast as its source. But what matters is that Pyongyang returned to its aggressive rhetoric, condemning the US for committing a crime which deserves merciless divine punishment. On the other hand, at least Seoul and Pyongyang have kept their dialogue process alive, and maybe there is hope this time that humanitarian issues can be separated. After all, the scale of high-level engagement within such a short space of time has been unprecedented, and the US is unlikely to stand in the way of family reunions. Plus, South Korea still has ambitious plans going forward. Next year's budget, unveiled today, plans to expand the Inter-Korean Cooperation Fund 14.3% on year to 1.1 trillion won, or close to $1 billion. More specifically, budgets for cross-border projects such as the modernization of the North's roads and railways will sharply increase to 504 billion won, up 46% from this year, according to a scheme approved by the cabinet that also does require the National Assembly's consent. And as for those family reunions, the government plans to triple the budget for them.